back to A Cup of Tea with Shauna Marie. We are getting into John again. I know it's been a while, and we're going to come back to where we left off, which is John chapter 6. You know when Jesus fed 5,000? That's where we're going to be. Well, I'm trying to solve a problem here. It's hard for me to get to videos, as you know. But I want to do it. Anyway, enough about that. But I decided that maybe I could solve a problem by filming at night. That is dedication. And thankfully, I feel well enough to do that tonight. But, you know, it's hard. You know, I homeschool, I run a soap business, things might be going on that, you know, I gotta do the laundry. You know how it is. If you're a mom, if you're a wife, if you're, you know, anybody who's busy. So I think maybe I just need to be willing to film at night sometimes, even though I like when the daylight streams in from the window. But this might be what I have to do sometimes. So I know you've seen that I've chosen some orange spice tea, which is not caffeinated. And I also put that little cookie in the plate because I wanted you to see. Oh, I got chocolate on my finger. I don't want chocolate on my teeth. It doesn't work for filming. Now what am I going to do? I didn't get a napkin. Not prepared. Anyway, yeah, so I guess I won't be biting into that till the end of the show, just in case I get chocolate on my teeth. But that little cookie there, you saw the box at the beginning of the film, and that is a very special gift from a very special woman. She is a friend of mine from, wow, I don't know, maybe 12 years ago now. A journey that I took to England some time ago when I went with Youth with a Mission. And that is for another day, another time. The whole thing about Youth with a Mission. I have some things to say that might be some positive, some negative. And I do want to talk about that someday, but I do keep putting it off, don't I? Anyway, this very dear friend, she, you could tell back then she loved the Lord, and you can tell that she loves the Lord today. At the time, we were both single, and now we each have families. She has 2 kids, and I have 1. She was so sweet, and at Christmas time, she sent me this mug with the cute little bird on it, and then the little box of cookies. Now, it's really funny because they're called Java cakes, and she told me the story that's behind that. Java cakes are actually cookies. But apparently in England, you're taxed for cookies. So if you call it cakes, then you don't get taxed. So I'm a little bit concerned about the focus going in and out, and I just moved the camera a little bit to see if that will help. I'll just scrunch down here. But today we are going to read John 6. So a little side story before I get started. In our Bible study on Sunday, we started going into Revelation, and that was, you know, just what we were doing. Something fun happened this morning, or really cool, neat. It was just really cool. I woke up this morning and I just was thinking about how a friend had invited me to be part of this Zoom call that happens every day, I think Monday through Friday, and it's kind of like a support for parents, maybe mothers, I'm not sure. It seemed like it was all ladies on the Zoom call, but I decided to get on it for the first time today. And it just so happened that they just started the book of Revelation. And I just got on it, and I was like, it was just the day I picked. Like, oh, I think I'll get on it this morning. And so they were also just starting Revelation. That was really cool. So I'm going to get well watered in that book. and hearing it from two sources. And actually, my husband teaches on Sunday, but he wasn't feeling well. As you know, the cancer is getting in the way sometimes. Well, really, the cancer treatments, that's what beats you up so much. But so somebody else did the study. So, you know, getting a lot of perspective from various people, it's pretty interesting already. So I appreciate it, and it's neat. It just seemed like God's hand was in that. That was cool. Some good news. John is, well, you know, he's, first of all, the bad news. It's been really tough towards the end of this season of treatments. He's really, really bogged down by how much it pummels you. The chemo pummels you with the cancer treatments. And he was just kind of miserable, you know, hanging his head and tired and everything in the last day or two. And that's kind of how it goes toward the end of the treatment month, and then you get a break. Well, now we're on more than 4 months. We're about 4 months in or more. And they were talking about doing up to 6 months. But we got some good news. It's possible he won't need 6 months of this kind of chemo pummeling. They might do some more treatments of some certain types, and we'll talk about that later. And they also might have to do maintenance, which is like a lighter amount of chemo, but we'll talk about that later too. But the good news is the lab work looked good. It looks like it is treating the cancer, and right now things are looking good. So praise God for that. And after John got that news and he knew I was going out with Samuel for a little bit this evening, he said, I'd like some celebratory pizza. And of course with him, a good pizza isn't just like a pepperoni pizza. It's a bacon chicken ranch pizza. That's his thing. So I brought home pizza. I brought home root beer Zevia. I don't know if you guys know about Zevias. They're like sugar-free and they're really good. And Linder chocolate, and so we were definitely enjoying ourselves this evening with some good food. And celebration or not, I also bought sushi, but that's for tomorrow night. So that's what we were doing tonight. Well, let's go ahead and get into chapter 6 of John. It says, after these things, Jesus went away to the other side of the Sea of Galilee, or Tiberias. And a great multitude was following him, because they were seeing the signs which he was performing on those who were sick. And Jesus went up on the mountain, and there he sat with his disciples. Now the Passover, the feast of the Jews, was at hand. Jesus therefore, lifting up his eyes, and seeing that a great multitude was coming to him, said to Philip, where are we to buy bread that these may eat? And this he was saying to test him, for he himself knew what he was intending to do. Philip answered him, 200 denarii worth of bread is not sufficient for them, even for everyone to receive a little. Now, by the way, a denarius was equivalent to a day's wage back then. So he said 200, like 200 days worth of working wouldn't buy enough bread. One of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said to him, there is a lad here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. But what are these for so many people? Jesus said, have the people sit down. Now there was much grass in the place, so the men sat down, in number about 5,000. Jesus therefore took the loaves, and having given thanks, he distributed to those who were seated. Likewise also of the fish as much as they wanted. And when they were filled, he said to his disciples, gather up the leftover fragments, that nothing may be lost. And so they gathered them up, and filled 12 baskets with fragments from the 5 barley loaves, which were left over by those who had eaten. When therefore the people saw the sign which he had performed, they said, "This is of a truth the prophet who is to come into the world." Jesus therefore, perceiving that they were intending to come and take him by force to make him king, withdrew again to the mountain by himself alone. And that was his response. I think, if it wasn't God, a lot of men would have been like, "Ooh, they want to make me king." God had a different plan. Jesus knew why he came, and it wasn't to become an earthly king. Well, from this story, so far, a nice takeaway for me is that God can do whatever he wants to take care of my needs, that he's all powerful. And in this display, he definitely displayed his power and his love that day. And as I said before, Jesus didn't come to be made into an earthly king. God in the flesh came for a much higher purpose. Jesus came to open our eyes to the truth and to die for the sins of those who believe in him and trust in him for salvation. That's what he came to do. He came to die for us. God did. To die for our sins. So, instead of letting them make him into a king, which he was the King of Kings anyway, but instead of letting them do that as an earthly king, he withdrew himself. And we'll see in our next video, as we go further, how they looked for him and how he answered them. So we'll cover that later. And that is all for today. You can chew on that, you can read it again, you can read ahead, and anyway, we'll read on further next time and see what he said to them once they found him. Alright, that'll be all for today. Thank you for joining me. I hope you're enjoying your tea. Oh, one more thing. I told you about how I'm trying to solve a problem by filming at night if I have to, so that we don't miss the weekly visit with each other. And I was wondering, what problem have any of you had that you found a good solution to, one that you were willing to share? What is a problem that you've had that you're willing to share about, and what was the solution? Of course, I realize you can't just share anything because this is on a public forum, but if it's something simple and safe to share, it would be neat for me and all the others to read a problem you had and how you solved it. And hopefully it was something that was a good example to all of us, something that is godly.